everyone, I'm Rachel Tessman from StampYourArtOut.com. I'm an independent Stampin' Up! Demonstrator from Andover, Minnesota in the US. And today I'd like to share with you some outside-the-box ideas that I created using the contents of the October 2019 Paper Pumpkin Kit from Stampin' Up! Titled Winter Woods. I love these monthly kits because they come straight to my mailbox and contain everything that I need to make fun, creative cards and gifts. This month's kit comes in a beautiful box and contains supplies to make 10 stunning holiday greeting cards. I also receive a publication with directions, tips and photos, a ruler for measuring, details about the kit, and a link to a how-to video to help guide me in assembling. Plus, I receive an exclusive stamp set and a little small ink pad that I can use over and over again even after the consumables from the kit are used up. A clear block, which was included free with my first kit for mounting and using my stamps, and my scissors are the only extra supplies that I need to provide. There was an extra flyer that was included in this month's kit, and this is advertising the next kit to come in November. These two kits, the October kit that I'm going to share today and the November kit, coordinate but do not need to be purchased together. In other words, you can get one and not the other and still have some beautiful projects, but you might as well get both because they coordinate, and just think of all the possible alternate projects you can make with both kits. Paper Pumpkin kits are just $22 plus tax per month in the US. Shipping is included. You control which months you get your kits, and there's no commitment or obligation. These kits are produced through Stampin' Up!, so the colors, images, and supplies always coordinate with many other Stampin' Up! Products. I'll be using some of these as I share my alternate projects. You can find these items I use listed below and linked to my online store. You can also look below for links to learning more about Paper Pumpkin kits, starting your subscription through me so I can spoil you with exclusive ideas, gifts, and prizes, joining my Paper Pumpkin fan club on Facebook where you can see even more alternate project ideas shared daily. And if you're watching my video on YouTube, a link to my website where I've shared photos of these projects. Since March of 2013, when Paper Pumpkin first began, I've been creating cards, scrapbook pages, gifts, treat containers, you name it. So many different projects, so Paper Pumpkin subscribers can see that there are so many more possibilities, so many more options with those kit supplies. And that's what I'll be doing in this video. I'm excited to create with you, so let's get started. During the video, I'm going to substitute for things that I have on hand. Like, for example, the kit comes with the Night of Navy ink spot, which is the mini ink pad, and I'm going to use my full-size ink pad because it's easier for me. It also comes with glue dots, which you're going to want to use for sure when you're adhering your snowflake little sequin things, but I'm going to use my snail adhesive anytime that I want to quickly add adhesive. And then the clear block that comes in your first kit is this one here. It's a little thinner, but I'm going to use the ergonomic one because it's more comfortable in my hands. And so you'll just be noticing that, but just know that you have those things in your kit. I also recommend, of course, your scissors, a paper snip, and then these are really helpful tools as well. This is the Take Your Pick tool. This will be great for picking up sequins because it's got a little sticky end at the end, and it's got a pointy end, a spatula. It comes with all kinds of fun attachments. And then a bone folder. A bone folder is great for adding creases and curling things. It's just a wonderful basic tool. This is the card that the kit instructs for you to make, and it's beautiful. A lot of people don't even want to make any alternates. This is just a gorgeous card, and you can't really tell in the video, but there is a shimmer to the tree cardstock here. It's like a shimmery white cardstock. It's gorgeous. It's got just this little, I don't know, glitz to it. So it's really fun to make this card. This is the envelope that comes with it, and you can see it's silver lined foil edge kind of envelope with a beautiful interior. What we're going to do is we're going to take the elements for making one card, and we're going to divide it out into three. So for this kit, for any kit that is Christmas card related, I like to see how many cards I can expand the kit into. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to take and separate these elements out. This one is going to, these two are going to go with one card. This is going to go with a card with the little birds, and then this is going to be a separate card. We're going to use this envelope with these pieces because it coordinates, right? And then we may even need to have parts of this Shimmery extra cardstock, the little negative part. Snowflakes we can add here and there too, but now you can see we need some card bases. And for the card bases, I'm going to bring in a pack of coordinating cards. These are our silver foiled edge note cards, and you get 20 in a pack, and it comes with 20 envelopes. So you can see there's some great coordination here. So if I were to take this kit of 10 cards and expand it into 30 cards, 10 times 3 is 30, I'm going to need 20 extra card bases. Ta-da! Here they are. So this is going to go with this, and this one's going to go with this. And then I need to have, of course, 2 extra envelopes. So we'll add that with that and that with that. Okay? All right, let's get started. We'll start with the easiest one. I'm going to take my stamp and I'm going to just press my block right on it. I like to actually have it on the table and then pick it up. I also like to have my stamp mounted onto my clear blocks diagonally. That way I'm not focusing on the edges of my block when I'm lining up my image. And then we'll open up our ink pad. So for those of you who have never stamped before, you just press your stamp right onto your ink pad. If you're using the spot, you might have to press a little bit harder because these are made out of a different, it's like a felt surface for the ink pad. This is firm foam. So we'll just tap it, get the message on there, and lining up the words with the edges of the card, we're going to stamp the sentiment in the lower right-hand corner. It's a beautiful card, just like that, isn't it? We're going to add a couple snowflakes, and to do that, we're going to bring in our Take Your Pick tool because it's handy, and we'll take our little glue dots that come in the kit. We'll just pick up one with the pokey end, and we'll add that right in front of the word Mary, and then we'll pick up another one, and we'll add that right next to it like this. So we've got 2 little snowflakes that are going to go boom, boom, just like that. And then we can take the pick part and just kind of wipe away the release paper. We're going to turn it around now, and we're going to use this end of our Take Your Pick tool because that will actually grab our sequins. So we have 5 sequins set aside for each card. They're a little staticky. Keep that in mind. So we have 5 sequins here. And to pick up a sequin, you could do that with your fingers, or you can grab this Take Your Pick tool. It's pretty darn awesome. You can just go like that. So we'll put a couple snowflakes right in front of the word Mary. Ta-da! And there is card number 1. Let's do the second one. For the second card, we're going to do a watercolor wash, and we're going to open up our ink pad, but before we do, we're going to squeeze it together, and that's going to put some ink on the surface of the ink pad right up in here to act kind of like a well of paint. Now if you don't have the larger ink pad, you can just take your spot and one of the clear blocks or a piece of plastic and just kind of pounce on some ink onto some plastic or clear block. And there you go. Okay, either way will work. Now we're going to grab our paintbrush, and this is a Stampin' Up! paintbrush called the Aqua Painter. What's great about this one is it holds water within the little cartridge or the little tube here, but you can use any paintbrush and just dip it into a well of water. So we're going to go ahead and grab our water, our ink, and you want it really watered down because you don't want to have real dense color. This is a dark color. The darker the color, of course, the darker the paint will be, right? So the wetter it is, the lighter it will become. We're going to start where we want the color the darkest, and we're going to move out and away. Now this is the bottom of the card up here. So, and I'm starting at the bottom, and I'm just kind of getting a little bit of a wash like this, just to give a faint hint of blue. Okay? And you can maneuver the ink color however you want because it's watercolor. So there we go. All right. Now we're going to let that dry. I may have forgotten to mention, but when you're using an aqua painter, all you need to do is squeeze the tube and that gets the paintbrush wetter. We're going to go ahead and clean this off though. You just need a paper towel and you just run your brush on your paper towel until you see clear liquid, water. Okay, we're now going to slide our paint or our ink back into its base. We'll grab our Season's Greetings stamp and we're going to stamp this a little left justified, so more to the left on our piece here. This is our pool party little banner, like that. Okay, and then we're going to keep this open. Actually, we're going to stamp another couple areas here, and I'm going to grab some grid paper. You can use any kind of scrap paper or whatever, but we're going to ink up our snowflake stamp, large snowflake, and we're going to stamp that off a couple times onto our grid paper, and then we're going to come onto our card and we're just going to press that image in place. So we're having a very light blue little snowflake, like that. I think I might do one more. Hang on. Let's try something. We're going to try some masking. I'm going to peel this off. I'm going to stamp it right down here in the corner. There we go. I like that. All right, let's close this up. And now I've already trimmed at an angle that piece that looks like wood, and we're going to add the Season's Greetings to that. So we're going to tape those two together. You can use the glue dots in the kit, or you can use snail adhesive or any kind of adhesive that you have that's nice and quick. And we're just going to go like this. And then we're going to flip it over and we're going to add some dimensionals to the back. And then we're going to put snail adhesive towards this end. Peel off the release paper. And I want this to come off the edge of the card. So we're just going to add it right here, like so. And this part is going to attach real snug to the edge of the card, and this part's going to come up and have a little bit of dimension to it, like that. So it's got a shadow behind it because it's lifted up. And then we'll just trim off the excess with our paper snips. And I'm going to bring in that bone folder. I should have grabbed it for my other card too. So this will give this a nice crease and help the card to lie flatter. Plus we can come in, now that our card is dry, and we can kind of help, we can help the card so that it lies flat, because it was a little curled up from the watercoloring. So let's do the same thing to this card. There, now we have 2 Christmas cards. Let's do our third one. So you have 3 from one set of supplies. So for this one, we're going to use a second card base. And we're going to watercolor wash that, which I've already done. So I've already done that same technique, and it's pretty dry. And we can stamp on that shimmery side. I'm going to hold that up and I'm going to try to show you the shimmer. There is a beautiful, beautiful little glitz to it. It's gorgeous. So that's going to go right here on the card, and I like the idea of having it up on dimensionals, so we will do that, but we want to stamp onto our card. Now you could stamp here because the phrase definitely will fit there, but I want to stamp off to the side here on the bottom of the snowy area connected to the trees. So we're going to grab our stamp that says Winter Wishes. And you want to be careful of those stray little skinny branches there. We're going to flip this card over to do the crease. So here is the third card. And they look gorgeous. So yes, just by adding a pack of the silver foiled edge note cards, and then of course your tools like a paintbrush and that kind of thing, you can make triple the cards in the kit. I did do a different layout on this one. Only a little bit. I just moved the snowflake down here, so you may see that. I just wanted to point that out in case you didn't notice. So there you go. Those are the 3 cards. One of our fun new products that just came out is this stamp set called Snowman Season, and it coordinates with the Snowman Builder Punch. So the idea is to stamp this snowman, punch him out, and create your own little snowman without having to fussy cut, right? So we're gonna go ahead and stamp that snowman onto the scrap or the negative piece from our trees. And we're gonna use the shimmery side because we want them to be shimmery. There we go. And we'll ink him up with our navy ink pad that comes in the kit. Of course, you have the smaller version. I'm using the paper pumpkin block, so you can see you can still use this block even if I'm not showing it to you. So there we go. We're going to stamp that little snowman there. It's a good block. It's just the other ones are more comfortable, and I have a ton of those. So now that we've stamped that, we're going to open up our punch. There's a little locking mechanism on the bottom here, and you just slide them in there. You line them up, and you punch it out. Of course, you get all those little other pieces too, which is great to stamp it in here so that you don't have to worry about that. But if you want to, you can of course, stamp those items here and punch those out too. Okay, so I'm going to punch out a smaller one. I'm going to punch out just a little tiny one here. And I added dimensionals to the back, a little tiny one, just so it has a little lift to it. I'm going to bring in this card first, just the base of our card for the kit. And you can see how adorable that snowman is, just added into the card like that, as is. He can really go anywhere. He's having a fun time. So you can do it that way and maybe make your card more whimsical, cute, or you can have just a mound of snow and keep it a little more serious looking, but with a little touch of fun by having a snowman in the background. So that's why I made the smaller one, because I thought he looked a little too big with this guy next to those trees. I don't know, those trees looked kind of skinny to me. So this way you got a tinier snowman in the background. Isn't he cute? Now I'm going to show you how to make your card in the kit a little bit more complicated. I know, I had you simplify it first, but now we're going to take some extra white cardstock. This is our Whisper white cardstock. We're going to cut it to 4 inches by 5 1/4. That is a 1/4 inch less on each side than a full regular size card base. In fact, here, I'll show you what I mean by that. See, it's just a slight amount less, a 1/4 inch on both sides. So we're going to now take you can take a bowl, you can take a cup. I've got a spool of ribbon, and I'm just going to trace around my spool of ribbon with a pencil, and I'm positioning it as centered as I can. I'm looking at the sides here. Now, if you are someone that owns a die cutting machine, some circle dies, then that is awesome. Don't do what I'm doing, just use your dies. But I know a lot of people that get paper pumpkin kits get them because they don't have a lot of the other tools, and it's nice and easy to just get these kits and create and have everything that you need right there. So if you can grab some supplies at home, like a cup, a bowl, a pencil, and a scissors, and some extra cardstock that you can cut, hopefully, you can make this card. Now what you want to do is come in and erase all the lines, or you can flip it over. So now we have no pencil lines on there. And we're going to take this piece and we're going to trace it again, one more time, onto our card base that comes in the kit. And when you trace it and cut it out, you're going to get this. This is going to be the front of the card. This is going to be the inside of the card. And we have an extra layer that matches up that we'll have on the front like that. The reason why we're doing that is because we're going to sandwich some trees in there. So now you're going to bring this tree piece in, and we're just going to cut off. In fact, we'll cut off neatly in case we want to use the rest of this for something else. But we're going to cut that off, and we're going to add this. Make sure we have the shimmer side up. There it is. We're going to add that right in here like this. And you can add it however you want. You could even add it more off to one side, but I'm going to add it off to this side here. So I'm going to put some adhesive around this edge here. And I also put some adhesive in the corners and down below, because once we have this on, we're going to put this piece right on top of it. And again, it's just going to sandwich together. So lay that on there like that. And I'm using the score line that's in the actual card to kind of make sure that this is going parallel with that score line. Fun, right? A window card. I got this idea because Nora Marin, who is a gal in our Stampers with Art group, was doing some similar cards with another stamp set and an embossing folder, and she goes, "Rachel, this would look like it would work with the paper pumpkin kit." And I said, "Oh my gosh, yes it would." So I wanted to give her credit for that. Thank you so much, Nora. I'm going to keep working on this card and we'll fancy it up. And here is the finished card. I was going to stamp on the front and I said, no, you know what? It looks real peaceful on the front. As an afterthought too, I added some of the silver metallic edge ribbon. Had to peel this piece back up and then I reinforced it with some glue dots to stick it back down again. So you'll want to put the ribbon on before you put on the white paper. And then you can look on the inside, look at all the sequins I have. That's because Stampin' Up! Actually has more of these in the, what is it called? Snowflake Sequins assortment. So you can find this in the online store, the holiday catalog, and there's a whole bunch of different shapes and stuff in there, but it does include those pretty little snowflake shapes and some silver ones too. I applied them with the fine tip glue pen. So there is our window card. So pretty. When I first saw the card that you're supposed to make with the kit, I was thinking shaker. It's a shaker card. It should be. So we're going to turn this image into a shaker. We're going to take the card from the kit and we're going to trim off this section here. We're going to make a frame for it. We're going to use window sheets. We're going to use the sequins that I just shared with you. This adhesive called foam adhesive strips, and then tear and tape adhesive. So you need some strong adhesive for this. And we're going to start by cutting. Let's go ahead and cut off half of the card. We don't need the back half. The reason why we're just separating the card out is because this is actually going to be an accent for my scrapbook page that I'm making. So now the frame has to be a little bit wider than the card, and right now the card base is 5.5 by 4.25. Sorry, 5.5 by 4.25, and so we want our frame to be slightly wider than that. We're going to make it 4.5, I think, 4.5. Let me look here. You know what, we're going to make it a little bit wider. Let's make it, no, let's do 4.5. Let me look. Hang on. I'm thinking. Let's do 4.5. Okay, 4.5. Did I ever tell you guys that most of the time I just create on the spot? I have the idea in my head, but I don't have it always done ahead of time. Okay, so we have 4.5, which is 1/4 inch bigger this direction, by 5 3/4, which is 1/4 inch bigger in that direction. Okay, so now we want to frame this, so we can see that we have 1/8 of an inch all the way around. That makes sense because 1/8 and 1/8 equals 1/4. But now we want the frame to go inside a bit too onto our card. So instead of just 1/8 of an inch, I think I'm going to go 2/8 in, which would make this frame 3/8 of an inch thick. So now what we need to do is we need to take our trimmer and find the 3/8 inch mark, which is right here underneath the 1 centimeter mark. And we're going to line that up. And then we're going to start our blade 3/8 of an inch in from the bottom and only go 3/8 of an inch up to the top. So we're not going all the way to the top. And if it's not exact, that's fine. You don't have to be totally exact. Let's flip this around this way. Okay, now what I want to do is, after removing this section here, I'm going to line it up like so. Actually, I'm going to line it up like this. I'm not even going to line it up with the other corner. I just want to line this corner up with this corner, and I'm going to grab the scoring blade on here, and we're just going to give it a nice crease. Get that one out of the way. And then we'll do the same thing here. This is becoming a frame for like a window frame. So I made it look as if it was, is that beveled? Is that the word? I don't know. Anyways, there's our frame. Okay, now we need to cut our, I forgot, we have to cut our window sheet. And our window sheet can go as large as the frame. It looks like we've got a good size piece here. Oh yeah, we'll just make it the same as the card, okay? So 5.5 is this direction, times 4.25. All right, now we're ready to start assembling. I'm going to use this piece here, which was the portion of the tree layer that we did not use on the last card. And that's going to go there. This is going to go on top like that, and then like this. So it's going to protect our tree branches somewhat by being in there. Because it is a shaker, I'm not guaranteeing that the shaker isn't going to get caught up on those branches. But, you know, we're going to take that chance. So the first step is to, actually I think we'll build from the top down. So we're going to put adhesive, strong adhesive around the frame. Okay, we're just going to double check to make sure, but you can see here that that foam adhesive is going to, of course, be within this area here, within the card, which is good. This is framing the area where we're going to put the sequins. We're putting them right in here in the window area. I have it here because I don't want the sequins to fall so far down that they don't shake. And then this is just for support, so there is a small little gap there because I wasn't too worried about the adhesive going all the way over there. But you want these pieces to connect as close together as they can. Now I'm going to grab just a tissue, just like a little, I don't know, bathroom tissue, Kleenex, and we're just going to rub along the edges, try not to disturb those branches there, of the adhesive here, and then we're just going to kind of give it a good rub like that. Maybe the fingerprints are on this side, I don't know. But we're getting static off of there, we're getting fingerprints off the window sheet, and we're also putting a tiny little bit of like fuzz, you know, from the tissue to cover up any excess adhesive that's kind of just getting on the edges of the foam strips. Okay, let's grab the sequins and take a bunch of those and just kind of pour them in there. They themselves are staticky, so you want them to try to stay in the middle, just kind of keep them over there. And if one of them keeps clinging to you, don't put it in there. I'm also going to add some of this ice stamp and glitter just to see if that makes it even more exciting. We'll just tap some of that into here. Okay. And I kind of want that to cling to the window a little bit. Let's go ahead and take the adhesive off. Adhesive backing off of these carefully. You don't want to move this thing or it might shift the sequins. And then really rub to make sure that that adhesive is bonding with the cardstock. You can even burnish it with your bone folder. Burnishing is basically rubbing with a little pressure. And then when we lift it up and flip it over and tap it, we have snow. And I love that it's clinging to the window just a little bit. That's actually kind of fun because this is going to be in a scrapbook layout. And if the sequins fall all the way to the floor or all the way to the ground of the scene, then you can't really see that they're kind of floating in there. And over time, some of that static in there will dissipate. You can see I can move my finger around there in there, and it'll move them itself. But I love it. I love it. That's going to be fun. It looks like the window, a framed window. Oh yay! Let's do the page now. I'm going to use some beautiful background paper from our Come to Gather designer paper. It's kind of got this little wood grain type look, and I've got a full sheet of 8.5 by 11 early espresso that we use to make the frame, right? So we're going to take this piece and pull them out for a minute. And this strip here was, let me measure really quick, it was 4 inches wide. 4 inches wide by 11. I took and cut it in half at 5.5, then cut each of those in half at 2 3/4. And so now I have these little frame pieces like this, and they look like they could be, you know, little wall hanging type things. So we're going to keep those over there like that. This piece we're going to trim down to 4 inches tall. I'm going to do that quickly off to the side here. And then I believe I'm going to have to trim it just a little bit more, but let's line those up next to each other like that. See, now they're the same height. Looks great. And this piece we want to have come into over here, which you can't see. We want that piece to come into as a frame. So we're going to trim this down just a little bit, and then we're going to make another 2 3/4 by 4 inch frame out of the piece that came out of the middle. There, that looks right. So this piece is 4 3/4 inches by 4 inches, and that's going to go right here. So now we have what looks like a window of a house inside, peeking outside. We've got some frame pictures on the wall. I might stagger these a little bit. I ended up trimming this one down just a little bit because as I laid out all my picture frame mats, this side seemed a little more scrunched together. So this is now 4.5 inches. Got them all positioned the way I like them. And now I'm going to take these pieces that were in the kit, the little strips that have the wooden design on them. We're actually going to use the back side, the white side. We're going to cut them in half. They are currently 4 inches. So we'll cut them all down to about 2. And these will become little identification marker, you know, like little label pieces for each photo mat. I'm picturing these, the photos that go on this page more like family photos, things that you would hang on the wall, because these look like they're hanging on the wall next to a window. I'm even picturing sepia tone photos. I think that would look lovely in this brown layout. You'll notice that I'm putting the dimensionals towards the bottom half because when we put the photos in, we want to be able to just slip them in like this, right? So now we don't have that adhesive in there in the way. You also may want to identify who is in each photo before you mount them on dimensionals, because this is going to be a lot harder to write on now. So that's all I'm going to go with. I know it seems simple, but when you put photos in there, especially if they're going to be like formal photos, you really don't want a lot around them. Formal photos, or you know, things that would be hung on the wall, are stunning enough. You don't need all those busy things around it. And this is going to be a beautiful little centerpiece on the page. I don't even have a title on there because each photo is going to have a little bit of script under it to tell who is in each photo. I think that's going to be plenty. I'm excited. I have one more card that I want to attempt to do with you. It's called a vertical bendy card, and we're going to use one card base. We're going to cut off the white section. So now we have a 4 1/4 by 5.5 inch piece. Now I'd love it if these trees were a little bit higher, but they're not. So I have to adjust some measurements that I did on a flamingo card a couple of years ago. I don't remember when it was. But we're going to start by taking this 4 1/4 inch wide piece, and we're going to trim one of them at 1 inch. And one of them at, oops, I lied. Okay, well, good thing we have extra. We're going to cut one of them at 1 1/4 inches. And one at 1.5 inches. Now we're going to score at a 1/2 inch in on each side. So we need to move our cutting blade out of the way and score and score. Do the same thing with this one. Score. These are both all at 1/2 inch in. Okay, so here's the 1/2 inch mark, and I just went in a 1/2 inch. So that's where those pieces are going to go. Okay, like that. Now we need to make some slits. So for this piece, we're going to go in 2 3/4 of an inch. So here is the left edge. We're taking the left edge and we're bringing it to the 2 3/4 inch mark. And we're going to start with the cutting blade, and we're going to start 1/4 of an inch up from the bottom. So if this is 5 1/2 inches tall, we want to start at 5 1/4 inches with our cutting blade. And we're going to go up to, sorry about that, I was getting ahead of myself. Okay, I'm going to show you a visual here. So this is going to be wrapped around at the base here, and we need to have it flat on the bottom. It has to be flush with the bottom of the card. So this is where the 5 1/2 inch end of the card will be, right? So we're going to start at 5 1/4, and we're going to go up to 4 1/4 with our slit. So 5 1/4 and move up to 4 1/4 with the slit. Okay? It's going to make sense soon. I'm sorry I don't have a finished one to show you. I should. Okay, now this piece is going to wrap around from this side. This piece is going to wrap around from this side. Some of you have seen bendy cards before. So this has to now get a slit. So we're going to lift this up. We've got the slit done on that one. We're going to bring this piece in to 2 1/2 inches. And we're going to start, and we're going to cut a slit that is, let's see, 1/4 inch from the bottom of that. This is 1 1/2 inches tall, so 1 1/4 inches is where we're starting with this slit. And this piece is, you can see, if we start at 1 1/2, because that's how tall this is, we want to go up to the 1/2 inch mark, right there. 1 1/4 to the 1/2 inch mark. So here's 1 1/4. We're going to go to the 1/2 inch mark. Okay, now we get to make some little tabs. So this is going to wrap around from this side. This is going to wrap around from this side. This is going to tab into this space, and this is going to tab into this space. So basically what we're doing now is we're going to take and imagine, okay, so this is 1 1/4 inches wide. We're going to imagine cutting 1/4 inch up and 1/4 inch down. Now this might not be exact yet, but you can get the idea of it, okay? I can always come back and correct that. But this one's going to go into this slot here. Hey, it works. All right, so basically what you want to do next now is you want to take and measure. So you're going to grab your ruler. I got ahead of myself. And you're going to mark down 1/4 inch from each edge, right? And then you're going to cut into it, making a kind of an angled cut. See? Like that. Because it's not going to be straight. We want to be able to situate it in there. So this piece now has to come into this slot. So this is the one that's going to get our little slot, or our slit that goes into the slot. All right, so let's take and measure 1/4 inch up from that way and 1/4 inch up from that way. We just put it right on the score line, and then we're going to cut and cut. It's going to be so cute, you guys. Like this and like this. A vertical bendy card. I love fun folds. Okay, next we're going to take and do some stamping before we assemble. We're going to bring in some tear and tape adhesive too, because we're going to need that pretty soon. Okay, what I just did is I kind of sketched out where the snow is going to make kind of a hill, and this is going to be covered up in the back of the card. It's going to go back here. So I kind of want the snow to slope slope down and then come this way. And then on this one, this is going to be tucked behind the card, so I want it to kind of come around like a little hill like that. So we're just going to go ahead and freehand cut. Then we can take and erase those pencil lines. Can you tell I used to be a teacher? I have all these fun pencils in the house. All right, so now we're ready to go ahead and attach these pieces. So we're going to flip them over and add some tear and tape adhesive to the tabs. This one's going to come from this direction, so we're going to make sure that it's right flush with the bottom of the card. So you can see here what I'm doing here. I'm making sure it's flush with the bottom of the card. If it's not going to stand up right. Okay, and then you can make that one go off to the side. Same thing with this one, only it's coming from the other direction. Make sure it's flush with the bottom of the card. And now we'll grab that bone folder and make sure that the adhesive is nice and strong in there. Okay, this piece is going to go up on top, and we're going to put it on dimensionals on one end. And adhesive, which I should have put on before I did that, on the other end. There we go. This is going to tuck in here. Oh, and you know what? It helps to do a little curving. Sorry, forgot to share with you that. Curve it with your bone folder. Give these a little bit of a curl. Okay, now this is going to tuck into here, and this one's going to tuck into here. And we're going to pull these out now because we're going to add some glitter. So now we're going to grab our fine tip glue pen that we just used, and we're going to use our chunky ice Stampin' Glitter. We're just going to add a little, I gotta grab my reading glasses. We're just going to add a little bit of glue just to the very top edge. And this dries clear, so it's going to be pretty awesome to use. We're just going to put that right along the top edge, which might be hard for you to see. I'm going to pull this away for a minute. So it's just going right along the top edge here. And the more glue you add, the more glitter you can add. But we're just going to dump it there. Put paper underneath so that when you're adding the glitter, it will stay in kind of a controlled area. This is chunkier than our Dazzling Diamonds glitter. So it's going to have a little bit more dimension. And then it might help to just kind of smush it gently so it fills in all of those spaces. Isn't that fun? Hopefully you can see the glitter on there. It's really pretty in person. Now that you've watched my video, I hope that you can see that there is so much more to these kits than meets the eye. With just a few extra supplies and some imagination, you can go beyond and make so much more with these super affordable kits. I hope you gained some inspiration from what I've shared. Thank you for watching. It builds creativity to think outside the box. Be sure to subscribe to my YouTube channel so that you can catch more Paper Pumpkin videos that I've shared using past kits and more that I'll share with future kits. Also, be sure to visit my website at stampyourartout.com so you can view close-up photos of these projects, see photos of other Paper Pumpkin kit ideas in future and past posts, and see many other great ideas that I share using Stampin' Up! Products. You'll find my website link in my description below. Now, if you want to get spoiled with extra goodies, gifts, prizes, and extra exclusive Paper Pumpkin project ideas, remember to get your subscriptions started with me as your demonstrator, Rachel Tessman in Andover, Minnesota. I hope you enjoyed this video tutorial. Now I'd like you all to go and stamp your art out. Bye-bye.